1912 kind of explains World War I, really, doesn't it? Now, our next stop, ladies and gentlemen, is stop number 3. This is for the world famous Cabin Club, and it's also for Liverpool 1, the major shopping district. So again, if you want to jump off here, folks, ping the bells or give us a wave, we'll sort you out. But it does seem like we're all Stones fans up here today, folks. Is anyone looking to jump off of the cabin, or? No, I think we're okay up here, Wayne. Good, mate. Future reference, it'll be this bus stop here on the left-hand side with the tired lady. Well, we'll go past Beatles territory now, ladies and gentlemen. So to the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, this is the Hard Day's Night Hotel, Liverpool's Beatles-themed hotel of the city, of course. You can see the Fat Four on the first floor up there. Ringo's got a seagull on his head, which is pretty good. So these 4 statues, folks, on the hotel, they're known as Together Again. And what the boys are wearing represents what they did after the band split. John's in his New York denims, Paul as he was for the Wings, George the concert in Bangladesh, and Ringo sadly not dressed as Thomas the Tank Engine, which I do think is a missed opportunity, really. And you saw the entrance to Matthew Street before. You can also see down into Matthew Street there on the right. It's more of an alleyway rather than the street, folks. This is why we don't go down and past the cabin, and we have tried in the past, folks. Pedestrians were not happy, so you'll have to go down there in your own time, but you certainly should, folks. Obviously, the main attraction in Matthew Street is the Cabin Club. Beatles famously played in the cabin over 292 times, and then afterwards they went down the roads to a pub called the Grapes, probably 292 times. Both of those venues are still open today. It will cost you about a £5 to get into the Cabin Club these days, ladies and gentlemen, but there is live music on there all day, every day, so you're supporting local artists. Quick look on the right, the Shankly Hotel, named after LFC's second longest serving, and to my mind, most charismatic manager, Mr. Bill Shankly. And opposite him was the Dixie Dean Hotel. William Dixie Dean was one of Everton's most famous players of the early 20th century. Both another nice hotels, ladies and gentlemen, although I wouldn't recommend the bar at the Everton Hotel, because they haven't got any cups. It's particularly disingenuous considering how Liverpool's been playing, but you know, you've got to state your claim. So as we get around the roundabout, folks, we're coming to stop number 4, and this is for the World Museum, Walker Art Gallery, Public Library and Lime Street train station as well. Bear in mind, folks, Mondays we do close most of the museums to clean them. So the only things that are around here at the moment are the library and Lime Street train station. So with that in mind, folks, did anyone want to jump on here? No, fair enough. If you're here tomorrow though, all 3 of the buildings are free to go inside, barring any special exhibitions that may be going on. Now at the top of the road you've got Liverpool's column here. Very similar to Nelson's column, of course, in London, but it is the Duke of Wellington standing on top of Liverpool's column, facing and overlooking his most famous battleground, the Battle of Waterloo. And he's got cracking eyesight, you can see that. Waterloo's in Belgium. To your left-hand side, this is St John's Memorial Gardens. And there are memorial trees in here for John Lennon and George Harrison. The central memorial is for Liverpool soldiers who fought during the Victorian era. And finally, this black copper cylinder to your left is the city's memorial for the 97 Liverpool Football Club supporters who lost their lives as a consequence of the Hillsborough Stadium disaster, of course, 1989. Since we've hit the lights, ladies and gentlemen, to your right-hand side, that's a good pub. Dr. Duncan's there, ladies and gents. Inside, it's all wing-back chairs and a fireplace your dog can sleep in front of. It's one of those kind of pubs, ladies and gents. And it's also got quite a lot of Victorian-era medical equipment on display. And that's because the man himself, Dr. William Duncan, was Britain's first chief medical officer. was a very important character when it came to things like public sanitation and sanitation in surgeries as well, apparently. Basically, he's the bloke who worked out that we should wash surgical tools in between patients. Yep, somebody had to work that out, folks. Terrifying, isn't it? There's Lime Street train station to your right, of course. And then to our left-hand side, this is St George's Hall, which is one of the first neoclassical buildings in Europe.
Really?
Very ancient Greek on the outside. Queen Victoria said it would not look out of place in ancient Athens. Although the statue of the Queen and her husband on horseback might give it away. And then the interior of the building does tend to, it's a bit more Roman, a lot of mosaics and white statues, etc. And more often than not, folks, when we see trucks like that outside St George's Hall, it means that they're filming in there, ladies and gents. These days, Liverpool is the second most filmed city in Britain after London. And St George's Hall has been used in a number of projects over the past couple of years. I think the most recent thing was that new Batman film with Robert Pattinson. St George's Hall is very prominently featured in that. It was also used in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the first Sherlock Holmes film with Robert Downey Jr., Hunt for the Red October, apparently. I always need to double check that. And Peaky Blinders have used it on a number of occasions as well. So yeah, second most filmed city in Britain, folks. Television-wise, Peaky Blinders I mentioned, Foyle's War, The Crown, Victoria, Tin Star, The Responder, Doctor Who. Film-wise, quite a lot of the Harry Potter franchise was filmed in Liverpool. First Captain America had scenes filmed here. Fast and the Furious 6, Yesterday, Nowhere Boy, all sorts of bits and pieces really. I'll try and point out a few more filming locations as we go. The film crews come to Liverpool for a couple of reasons, ladies and gents. One's tax breaks, let's be honest. But also lovely buildings like St George's Hall and these buildings on our left-hand side, ladies and gents. Do you notice with these buildings how the windows are getting smaller with each floor up? Yeah? That's how you know it's Georgian architecture. And we've got the most of this style of architecture outside of the city of Bath. Or Bath, that's your preference, of course. Bath. And they've got the most of the country. Now, we're going to see a lot more of this style of architecture as we head on through the tour, ladies and gents. I think I'll just let this ambulance go by. So yeah, you're going to see a lot more of the Georgian architecture throughout the second half of the tour, ladies and gents. And the more you start recognising Georgian buildings, the more you'll notice that some of them have their windows bricked up. This is all because of the window and lighting tax, yeah, imposed by Mad King George III. And if you didn't, or simply refused to pay those taxes, they would show up and brick up your windows. Which is where the phrase daylight robbery comes from, by the way. Yeah, it's on the nose, isn't it? Our next stop, ladies and gentlemen, is stop number 5. To the left-hand side here, this is the Britannia Adelphi Hotel. If you're interested, folks, make yourselves be known. Now, during the Adelphi's golden era, Frank Sinatra used to stay here. Laurel and Hardy stayed here. Charlie Chaplin, Bob Dylan. The big one was President Roosevelt and his wife, Eleanor. Eleanor Roosevelt once said there were only 2 good hotels outside the US. There was the George V in Paris, and back in the day, the Adelphi was the other one. Personally, ladies and gentlemen, I think this was our favourite hotel because of that statue directly ahead of us here. Might be a bit tricky with the roof, guys, but don't worry, you'll get a good eye for them in a minute. Perched atop the old Lewis's department store, the statue's official name is Liverpool Resurgent. He was sculpted by a man called Joseph Epstein and erected in 1954. And that's a filthy mind you got there, dear, but there we go. Yeah, officially he's called Liverpool Resurgent, but the people in Liverpool call him Dickie Lewis. Short for Richard, of course, nothing else. This is number 5 in here, yeah. I'll give you a shout when we get to the bus stop then, guys, okay, for a second. It'll be an hour, and then after that it'll be every half an hour. Now, there's been a few incarnations of the Adelphi over the years, folks. The original one was founded by three brothers, hence the name Adelphi. That is Greek for brotherhood. They each owned things like stables and pubs. They pulled their resources together and created the first Adelphi. The second, far swankier version of the Adelphi is where Charles Dickens used to stay every time he came to Liverpool. There's a few nice little connections with Dickens, folks, but for the purposes of time, I'll point out this street we're going up now. This is called Brownlow Hill. If you've ever read Oliver Twist, there's a minor character in it called Mr. Brownlow. Yeah. We reckon this street is where that name comes from. Teachers, huh?
Maybe that's their school.
Yeah, that's why it's a bit. Yeah. No, they don't. No. There was talk that the council was going to compulsory purchase the Adelphi off of them, but that was before COVID. At this point, God knows what's going to happen with that one, really. But as you say, they've not got a great reputation, and yeah, unfortunately, the Adelphi does suffer from that. Oh, great! Yeah. you don't get salmonella on the tourist guides very often, though, do you? So, our one's famous for its sheets. Yeah. I should stop reading because they sell out tickets, but you gotta know. So, that's the Catholic Cathedral coming up on the right-hand side, folks. And again, I'll give you a shout when we get to the bus stop, guys. It's worth noting, though, this cathedral is not the one that they started building back in the 1930s. See, in the 30s, they started building the Lutyens Cathedral, which was supposed to be the largest Catholic cathedral in the world. Unfortunately, they only got as far as the lower structures, folks, the crypts and the catacombs. You see the bits with the pyramids here. And then in 1939, the Second World War broke out. Work was down their tools, went on to fight the Nazis. By 1945, the cost of the cathedral had gone from £3 million to £27 million. And bear in mind, that's 27 million in 1945, ladies and gents. So the cathedral we're going to drop you off, guys, that's Plan B. It's a bit cheaper. But if you wanted an impression of how tall the Lutyens Cathedral was supposed to be, Plan A, see the red brick clock tower there in your left, folks? Might have to turn around to use a pass here, folks. But that clock tower behind you now will have safely fit in the doorway of the Lutyens Cathedral design. So it was going to be big, ladies and gents. In fact, if you imagine, you know where there's that gap over there on the right between the pyramids and the cathedral, that was all supposed to be cathedral. So it was supposed to be massive, folks. I think they've still got the scale model of it in there, guys. So we'll drop you off at this yellow bus stop here, and then if you cross over, you see that little garden path? That'll take you straight to the front there, guys, okay? Again, our next bus will be back around here in about an hour or so, okay?
We're going to walk
to the other one. Yeah, no, when you get to the front of this one, you'll see where you're going. Okay. Cheers, guys. See you later now.
Thank you. See you later.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy the cathedral.
You wanna cut the front?